Why is private equity so bad? What makes a private equity firm inherently different from, like, an investment bank or a hedge fund? Let's go through what each one is. Investment banks help companies buy each other, merging and acquiring, and also sell and issue stock. This might include taking a company from privately held to publicly sold, which is known as IPOing. When a company is privately held, only like maybe the founder and like the investors and the employees own stock. But if it's a publicly held company, regular people like you and I can choose to invest in that company by buying stock in it. Hedge funds pretty much do that en masse. They trade public stocks and bonds. They tell their investors, hey, give me some money and I'll 3x it for you. We'll choose the stocks for you. Private equity, whole different beast. Instead of buying stocks in a company, they just buy the whole company. Let's get this straight. Hedge funds and investment banks invest in companies. Private equity firms buy companies. The business model of a private equity firm is to buy a company for a lower price and then sell it for a higher one. It sells it for a higher price by making a bunch of changes, like, I guess, increasing efficiency or replacing leadership. So, like, what's wrong with that? What if I told you that private equity firms are not making the company better before they sell? What if I told you that they leech off of the company's assets, lay off all of its employees, and decrease the qualities of its services in order to make their money back, regardless of whether they can sell for higher or not? How do they make money off of companies before selling? One of the ways is that they charge these companies like fees for being managed by them, even though they bought them to manage them. They've got to get the money somewhere to pay these exorbitant fees, so they might cut services or the workforce. Another thing they do is charge rent, so sometimes they'll buy companies for their real estate. For example, Toys R Us had many brick and mortar stores. Once they were acquired by Bain Capital, they had to sell these stores to Bain Capital. Bain Capital then leased these stores to Toys R Us, even though originally Toys R Us owned their stores and did not have to pay this rent. Another thing is this is usually done with businesses that cater to vulnerable parts of the population, like the elderly, animals, or prisoners. For nursing homes, there has been a huge decline in quality of healthcare. The estimated death toll of elderly people at nursing homes due to private equity ownership is more than 20,000. This also happened with PetSmart. Employees complained that they had to deny care to animals because of the cost. And more than 10% of all vet clinics are owned by private equity. Also, prisoners, they're literally captive. These firms decrease the quality of life in prison and profit off of their unpaid labor. They also charge prisoners out of the nose for like phone calls with their families. So this in part explains why your doctor bill or your vet bill might be more expensive for lower quality care. I also complained in my last video about them buying up cheap houses in like fast growing cities and making it impossible for people to get a home, but that's a different matter entirely. My point is, the position that these private equity firms are in and the lack of regulation that they get from the government is similar to that of Wall Street before the 2008 financial crisis. Government officials, both Republicans and Democrats, are in bed with private equity. Donald Trump, pro-private equity. Kamala Harris, no position on private equity. They're just not going to learn from the past and let these firms keep doing what they've been doing until everybody pays. So yeah, I hate private equity.